Welcome to Out of the Box with Christine, the podcast for conscious entrepreneurs. Are you willing to step into your greatness? Are you ready to shine? Well, get ready, Truth Seeker. You're in for an amazing ride. And now, here's the host of the show, Christine Blosdale.
Welcome back to Out of the Box with Christine. I am your host, motivational media coach Christine Blosdale. And today, buckle up, little buttercups, because today we're going to be talking about how we can rewire our brain, how we can deal with that nasty little imposter syndrome that pops up when we're trying to do something great in life and it just knocks us down. And my guest is the perfect person to talk about that. My guest is Michele Molitor, and she is also known as the Mind Detective, but she is a coach, a hypnotherapist, and CEO and founder of Nectar Consulting. And she's joining me today to talk about the little nasty imposter syndrome, but more importantly, what we can do about it. Welcome to the show, Michele.
Thanks for having me, Christine. I'm happy to be here with you today.
And so that imposter. Now, Michele, you're the Mind Detective. You're a coach and hypnotherapist. You've been doing this for many years, helping out people. Surely you never suffered imposter syndrome, right?
Surely, I always did. Yes, that's why I'm so passionate about it. Actually, I was a creative director in my former career in web development. And I essentially got bullied out of my highfalutin job. Yeah, I spent 10 years in that industry and worked my way up to the shiny corner office, working hard, swimming upstream in the boys club. And ultimately I got bullied out of my job, and it was devastating, and it smashed my confidence and shattered my sense of self-worth and kind of left me in a puddle. And that's what actually led me to coaching, was to figure out, what the heck do I do now? And in the process of being coached, I realized, oh, this is actually my true calling. So I pivoted my career. I got trained and certified and hung out my shingle back in 2001. So I've been doing this for a hot minute. And all along that way, I've become a learning junkie of what makes us tick, and why are some people confident and other people are not? And why are some people filled with self-doubt and imposter syndrome and others aren't? So I geek out on neuroscience and what makes our brains work differently.
I love that. And the whole idea too of rewiring our brains, and not to sound science fiction-y, right? But I know just from the studies that I've done is that we have these neural pathways that are dug pretty deep, right? They're like canals. Think of it like a deep
exactly.
canal, and the water rushes through them because there's this very, very deep canal. And so how we react to situations, right? It's pretty much ingrained in a lot of ways. But there is, and because I know from neuroscience that there are ways that we can repattern those. Someone gave me the example of sort of like a CD. Remember those things?
Oh, yeah, way back 10 years ago, right? We were still using CDs.
In a music CD, the music is basically like engraved in the CD. And it was very brilliant, because they said if you took like a key or something sharp and you went back and forth over that CD, you would disrupt what that music was playing, right? You would disrupt that song. And
Exactly.
So that's the same way, is where we want to disrupt those patterns, especially if they're negative. If they're positive patterns,
Exactly.
that's one thing, right? Rising to the occasion sometimes if you're under stress, or, seeing the glass as half full instead of always, dry and empty. But that rewiring of the brain comes with, like you were saying, a lot of experience of being in the shoes of someone who had that imposter syndrome. And then, of course, the being bullied. What now at the place where you were at? What was the key? What was the thing? Was it someone making light of your expertise, or just make little digs throughout the day kind of thing? What was it that really kind of sent you over the edge on that?
I actually hired two guys to be on my team, and they made it abundantly clear from the get-go they really didn't like working for a woman. Had one of them literally like get up in my face and give me his piece of his mind, and I didn't have the chutzpah then that I have developed now, and I was literally gobstruck. Like, I have no idea what to say in this moment. And they just continually undermined my work as the leader of, the creative team in front of me, behind my back, to clients, all sorts of ways,
Oh,
shapes, and forms. Yeah, it was pretty ugly. And I was frozen. I didn't know how to handle it, and I didn't know who to turn to, because I just moved across the country to be in this new position. And so my feeling like a fraud, and who am I, and I don't know, and who to turn to, I was just at a complete loss. And so it unraveled me, and eventually it cost me my job. So it was a blessing in hindsight, but it was a very, very painful lesson to go through. And
yeah.
it's created, as you said, one of those deeply ingrained panics in my nervous system, right? And so I spent many years trying to undo that, trying to figure out how to rewire myself. And I didn't have all the tools. As a coach, I had a lot of training and a lot of tools, and it wasn't until I discovered this particular method of hypnotherapy that I use today that allowed me to create really powerful shifts in a short period of time. Because part of what I do as a hypnotherapist is we get at the root causes of that lack of confidence, that lack of self-worth, of believing in yourself, and change it, literally rewriting the tape, paving over that old way of being, and instilling new empowering beliefs with repetition, because your brain loves repetition. Just like listening to a song on the radio over and over and over again, you remember the words from 20, 30, 40 years ago, right?
Yes, you're right.
So part of one of the tools that I create for my clients is a unique transformation recording. It's customized just to them. It instills new empowering beliefs in their mindsets, and they listen to it as they drift off to sleep every night.
Love this.
And so the repetition of that over 30 days is what builds those new neural pathways. So they literally wake up one day and are like, I don't know, what was I so worried about? Like, it literally starts to disappear itself.
Why did I hire you, Michele, in the first place?
Yeah. I literally had one gal I worked with, we turned off her chronic IBS. 15 years of chronic IBS, turned it off. And when I reached back to her a month later to ask for a testimonial, she was like, what did we work on?
Wow.
Literally, like, shoo. So yeah, it's really amazing, the mind-body connection.
I am, and I have several friends and also clients that are hypnotherapists, and the power of that, speaking directly to the subconscious mind. And that's why I'm sure that why you have these recordings playing while people are about to sleep and going into that deep REM sleep, because you're speaking directly to the subconscious mind, whereas the conscious mind might be going, well, hey, Michele, of course I want to be a successful business person, or I want to be a great mom, or, of course I want to have a happy relationship. But the subconscious mind is still holding on to those things that happened to us when we were 3 years old, when we were on the playground and somebody called us fat or ugly or whatever. For the longest time, I did not understand why. I really didn't trust a lot of humans. I was very shy as a little kid. You wouldn't know it now because now I'm like on camera and I'm like, hey,
You shy? Yeah,
yeah.
that's hard to believe.
I'm like, give me a microphone. But when I was little, I was very kind of quiet and offstandish from people. And I remember I had like a weird flashback. Now, this was not under hypnosis or anything. It was just something that came to me, and it was kind of like one of those aha moments. And I remember being on the playground as a little kid, really young. I don't even know. I don't even know if I was in school yet. If it was just a playground. But you know those teeter totters. You know
Yep.
those seats. I don't even know, seesaws, whatever they're called. So
Yeah, both.
so one person sits on one end, the other person sits on the other end, and you have this beautiful relationship, right? Of pushing off the
Yes.
ground, and the other person goes up in the air, and it's
I
kind of
support
exciting.
you. You support me. I support
Yes.
you. You support me.
Well, Michelle, you could probably guess what happened.
Yep.
As little Christine was up in the air, the little kid, I don't know, I can't remember who or what it was, but they jumped off. They stepped off of the thing. And what happened was, of course, I came crashing down, and the impact of my root chakra, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right where you're sitting,
Yep. Your
that
tailbone.
that was like, that was very painful. And I felt like I hurt myself, but it was more about the fact that I trusted that I was like, wait a
Yes.
second, I trusted you to play and have fun. We were having fun. So that came to me one day, and I went, oh my gosh, I need to deal with that, right?
Yes.
Because
Yes.
if you don't trust life, or you don't trust people in life, and one of the things that you talk about, I know, um, uh, there's the African proverb that you have in your on your website, something about, if you want to go fast, go it alone. If you want to go far, do it with others, or something like. I probably just
Yes.
butchered that.
Go together.
Yes, do it together, get it together, whatever. But do it with others. So um that's something that's really profound, because we do need each other. We do need to have that sort of that faith in life and in others. Are people going to jump off the teeter totter once in a while? Yes. Are people going
Yes.
to say horrible things at work to you? Yes. But we have to really be able to see it for what it is, and to replace those things inside of us with some way. Can you talk about a little bit about the process you do with your hypnotherapy and your clients?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. What I found is that combining hypnotherapy and coaching is really powerful. They supercharge each other. So if you think about it, coaching happens at a conscious level, right? That is 10% of your prefrontal cortex brain that does all the thinking and the reasoning. 90% of your brain is run by your subconscious and your emotions. And so the hypnotherapy allows me to talk directly to the subconscious mind, getting at the emotional, energetic charges that are caught in your system. So just like when you were on that teeter totter and you got dropped, that moment that you got dropped, it created an impact. And that impact created a ripple through your nervous system. And you created a decision point in that moment. It's not safe to trust other people. And your amygdala, which is your fight, flight, or freeze mechanism in your limbic brain, said, okay, got it. Take note of that. Don't trust people ever again, right? Or be very, very cautious. And so the hypnosis allows us to get at those underlying beliefs that were made oftentimes unconsciously as a small child, and rewrite them, because your mind in a state of hypnosis, in an alpha brainwave state, that half awake, half asleep place, doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's imagined. So we're telling your mind new stories from this adult perspective that serve you, that empower you, that lift you up. And then by creating the transformation recording and listening to that over and over again, that's what's building off of what we discovered in the hypnotherapy session. And then you're strengthening that new belief over and over and over again. So it builds the stronger and stronger neural pathways in your brain. And we neutralize the old beliefs, the old ways of being. So they literally just fall away, because just as neural pathways love repetition to make them stronger, when they're not used, they start to pull away, they start to separate and dissipate. So it's just science, and it's it's a beautiful little bit of neuroscience that allows us to rewire our brains.
It's an incredible gift. Like you were talking about um a client of yours who had a condition, and after the hypnotherapy with you was like, wait, what did we work on? I don't even remember what the problem was. Like what? And for folks that are listening too, because I know there's some people, they have, and this is from the movies or Dracula, their
There's
idea
no swinging watches, there's
yeah,
no stirring teacups, none of that.
the idea of hypnosis is being out of control, of having somebody on stage quacking like a duck, and
None of that.
and please dispel those myths, because it is such a beautiful modality for not just your mental well-being but your physical well-being, because it's all interrelated. But can you talk about
Absolutely.
just the process of it? And yeah, and tell them that there's no watch going back and forth.
I promise you, there's no watch. You're just listening to the sound of my voice goes
Oh, you
with
have a nice voice.
you in a very relaxing way. And essentially, I'm just having a conversation with you in an alpha brainwave state. You're very relaxed, you're conscious, you're able to answer my questions, but your body is very, very relaxed, as if you've just woken up from a nap and you're not quite ready to get out of that relaxed state of being. And in that state, I'm able to literally have a conversation with your mind, with your body, to find out what's at the root causes of the limiting beliefs, the physical manifestations of the mindsets that you've been carrying around. So, for example, I've had clients who have been dealing with chronic IBS. They've had chronic migraines. They've had chronic psoriasis, arthritis, anxiety, low energy, adrenal fatigue, all sorts of physical symptoms because of the mental maps they got wired with as a child, the beliefs that they were holding about themselves. And so when you change those mental maps, your body responds in kind. And I've had folks whose chronic conditions have turned off completely or been significantly reduced to the point of it's a non-issue.
Wow. And there is like so much anxiety and depression. I would say that
Yes.
there's a pandemic. And it's not the COVID one I'm talking about. It's a pandemic of anxiety, depression, and so much of that, we attribute to, well, oh, I have ADHD, or this or that, when a lot, and I know, because I've studied this enough and I've worked with enough clients myself, just as a media coach, a lot of those things that have happened to us as children, where we didn't have that adult brain where we could sort of figure things out and go, oh, okay, I understand that. But we took it on so personally. But also
Yes.
there's, let's face it, with children, there's abuse. There's not just physical or sexual abuse, because that has to fucking stop, right? I mean,
Yes, absolutely.
this because it's soul shattering. That's soul
It
shattering.
is.
And it
It
would
is
take a lot
absolutely.
to move forward from that and have a
It
life
is
that's
it
worth.
is possible. It is
Yes,
possible,
but
right?
it's yeah,
But you're
it shouldn't happen in the first place, right?
absolutely.
But then you have
But there's
also the
also a lot of emotional abuse that
emotional
happens.
abuse and abandonment. um
Yes.
and I find that the people that I know too that have those abandonment issues at a really young age have a really hard time later in life, sometimes being successful, because they feel that they're not They're not
Yes,
worthy.
they don't have a sense of self-worth. They don't have a
Yes.
sense of self-value. They don't think that they belong or that they matter. And they're constantly searching. I had my own abandonment issues that I went through as a child, and it created a whole cascade of things, which is why I'm so passionate about this work and these tools that I have been blessed to be able to use, because it's helped me heal myself. Right. And I see so clearly these wounds in people. I'm very empathic. I feel people's pain in their bodies, and I'm able to help them tune into it, so then we can take that energy and notice it, because feelings are thoughts, and thoughts are energy, and that energy gets triggered and then it moves through your body, and unless we process it, it gets stuck in our nervous system. And as you mentioned, as kids, our brains aren't fully formed. They're not fully developed until we're 25 years old. So when you think about all the things that happened to any of us as children, whether it's, a simple thing as being on the teeter-totter and getting dropped on your bum, or having, being in an abusive family in some way, shape, or form, right? The spectrum is vast and wide, but the scars run just as deep, right? And so oftentimes people come to me, they're like, I've tried everything else. I don't know what else to do. I know I'm stuck. I'm feeling this way and I don't know how to get rid of it. Can you please help me? And those are probably my most rewarding clients to work with, because they're really invested in doing the work to get at the root causes of it. Because it's not just, I'm going to wave my magic wand and poof, you're fine, right? There's work that we do over a 30 to 90 day period, that combines the hypnotherapy and the coaching to give them not only new perspectives, like taking off the blinders of fear and self-doubt, but putting new strategies for success, new habits, new beliefs, new behaviors into place, so that they can move into their life shining more brightly, more fully, more confidently.
Mm. And what a beautiful goal that is, just to have, and like I said, a gift as well. You talk about also these archetypes, these self-doubt archetypes. Can you go through them? I think there's like five, briefly, but can you cover some of them? Because I want to know if our listeners and our viewers on YouTube, if they can relate to any of these self-doubt archetypes.
Yes, absolutely. Well, um, realizing that I had my own massive case of imposter syndrome, that was the first aha. Like, look at that. Okay, maybe I should do something about that, right? So I started doing a lot of research, Christine, just on my own personal journey to move that stuff out of the way. And so all the healing, all of the research, all the self-exploration I've done had me identify these 5 self-doubt archetypes, because what I found is imposter syndrome is this nice umbrella. It's this polite way to talk about self-doubt. Nobody likes to talk about that they have self-doubt. Hi, my name is Michele. I'm full of self-doubt. How can I help you today? Right? It really doesn't work very well. So imposter syndrome has been this nicely coined term that we're able to use. So what I found is the underbelly of self-doubt, or of imposter syndrome, are these 5 self-doubt archetypes. So we have the procrastinating perfectionist, and these are our friends who procrastinate or will overwork something because it has to be perfect, because they're so afraid to be judged for their work, right? We have your shapeshifters. These are our friends who are masterful at juggling multiple roles to please others, because that's the way they learned how to be safe. Typically, these folks have had a narcissistic caregiver in their lives, right? So they're always having to figure out and read the room, right? They're really great at reading the room, but trying to stay safe. We have the reluctant resistor. And these are our friends who are so afraid that they're going to be seen, they're going to be judged, they're going to be rejected for their work. They're just reluctant to take on any challenges for fear of failure. So there's a lot of cloaking that happens, right? You have the anxious avoider. And these are folks who were so scared of being rejected for not having all the answers, that they don't want to ask for help. They're like, I'll just do it all by myself, right? This is my personal favorite, right? I'll just do it all by myself, right? And then the last one is the fearful follower. And these are folks who they're so afraid to trust their own instincts, their own intuition and guidance, that they will follow other people's advice and never allow themselves to fully step into their own expertise, really owning their expertise. So I found that similar to the love languages, right? There are 5 love languages, and we all have some aspects of all 5 of them, but we typically have 2 that are our predominant ones. The archetypes are very similar in that you might have experienced all 5 of them at different points in your life, but there's usually 1 or 2 that is your predominant one that drives your behaviors on any given day. So I've created a little self-doubt finder quiz, so you can share that with your listeners and your viewers, and they can take that for free and identify what their number 1 self-doubt archetype is, but more importantly, how do they start overcoming that? And what's the path that they can take to help them kind of start eliminating that and rewiring their mind with better thinking?
Oh, I love that. And for that that quiz, how do they get that quiz? How do they get to do that quiz?
Well, you can go to my website, michelemolitor.com. There's a pop-up that'll allow you to take that, or I'll send you the link and you can drop it in the show notes as well.
And I will we'll make sure in the show notes that the website, michelemolitor.com is listed there. But hey, folks, if you want to look it up right now, they can. That's not a problem. I wanted to just touch one thing here, and we'll give out that we'll give out that website again at the end of the show. But I was when I was looking sort of through the website, there was something about tapping into your power and presence. And this is something that I, as a media coach, right, working with motivational media coach, so I'm motivating people to get their business or their brand out there by really taking control of their message and connecting with the audience, right? Connecting with potential customers, clients, the audience, the viewership, listenership, whoever it is that they're trying to communicate with, but really connecting. And you had the 3 things that I found really nails it. And when I did a speaking engagement in front of 100 women in business. 100 of them were there. It was a sit down breakfast, and I was just giving them some tips and tricks on some marketing ideas on what they can do, like cheap or free, that they can do to get
That's
the word
cheap
out.
or free. You only get to pick 2.
Yeah, I was doing that, and the thing that they came up to me and said were really a lot of these 3 things, and this is something that I was communicating with them, and then I saw it reflected back on your website. Number 1, you had was confidence.
Yep.
Number 2, intuition.
Yes.
And number 3, expertise. We tend to think that we need to know it all. We need to be the person with all the degrees and the diplomas, and we need to have studied something forever in order to be an expert, in order to really make an impact. And that's not necessarily true, because there are a lot of coaches out there. There's a lot of people who have more degrees than I do, that have many more years experience than I do. But what I have, and what I was communicating with my audience, and then I saw it on your website, is the confidence. Because if I don't know how to do something, I'll figure it out. And if I can't figure it out, I'll hire somebody to do it. But I have the confidence that it'll get done. I'm like, yep, okay. And then intuition. I work intuitively.
Yes.
I always work intuitively. If I have the Blosdale goosebumps, that means it's good. It's gold. It means, yes, go forward, young lady. Do it. Yes, yes, yes.
Yes.
And I rely on that intuition when ideas come, from the universe or God, love, whatever you want to call it.
I call them downloads. Like bing, do this and do this now. Had one of those this week. Like, make this and make it
Yes.
now.
And you can use it in your day to day. You can use it in your relationships with your family. You can use it in business. You can use it when you are like, if you're getting up to speak in front of 100 people, if you have a little bit of the nerves or whatever, tap into your intuition. And then third was and then of course expertise. And expertise just it comes from, you know what? It comes from trying something and failing and trying again and kind of maybe failing,
Yes.
trying again, and then being
Failing is
successful.
just learning. That's all it is.
Exactly. And I try to explain that to people and they don't get it because
Well, it's because our little egos
perfection.
get all involved, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I did it all wrong. And it's all our past programming from our families of origin that failure is looks like this and it's bad and wrong for these reasons, right? And
Yeah.
if you've been ingrained with that, right? It's no surprise that we have so many overachieving people in the world right now, because of the things that we've been taught as children. It's interesting if we look back at parenting styles over the decades and how those have shifted and how it's impacted the mindsets of these different generations as well that are coming up. So,
Yes.
you know, learning to trust your own intuition is probably one of the most challenging things I've found for people,
Yeah.
because they're often like, well, how do I know it's my intuition? How do I know if it's right? And it's just listening to that sense within your body and what feels good versus what feels tight and crunchy, right? It's
Yeah.
just really getting in tuned with your own body and how your body is responding. So I always like to do little science experiments, right? So, you know, you could just start with, okay, I'm gonna do a little science experiment with myself this week and like notice how my body is reacting and responding to these particular people or these particular situations, and seeing what's true for you and what's not. And the more you start to trust it, the stronger it becomes.
And we have this primal thing, I think, of wanting to get it right, wanting to do it correctly. And that primal thing of like, if we don't do it right, we're going to be kicked out of the cave and then we'll probably be eaten by a dinosaur or starved to death or
Yeah,
whatever, right?
exactly. The
Because
cyber taker will come after
yeah,
us.
those and that's built in, from however millions of years ago. But then what I find too is that some some of my clients as well is that they have this desire to do it perfectly or to get it right, that they won't try at all. And I see this in
Yes.
young people. And I see this in young
Yes.
people. It's like, if I can't do it and it's perfect and everybody can see that I did it, it's perfect. Because if other people see that I did it wrong or that I failed in some way, then I'll be judged from them. And again, that cave thing, they're gonna
Yes,
shove
the
me out the
reluctant
cave.
resistor pops its little head up and like, oh, I don't know. I better just stay in the background. I'll just watch for a little while, right?
But some
A
of
lot
your
of people sitting
greatest
back.
and some of your
Yes.
greatest insights for me, some of the greatest insights, some of the best learning, some of the most magical moments came when when exactly that happened, when I tried something and it messed up, it didn't go well. And I had to think. I'm a producer by, 20 years in radio broadcast producing. And so there was a lot of time when there was dead air, or
Yep.
the person who's on the other end, supposed to be on the other end for the interview, wasn't there. They're not picking up their phone. So you have to think really quickly, and
Yeah.
to know that when you come from your intention, if your intention is to do the best you can with what you got and to give it your all, people are not going to judge you. They're not going to judge you harshly. they're gonna go. Maybe some curmudgeon is gonna go, oh,
there's always going to be those haters out there, Christine, who are going to come at you because whatever you're saying is triggering one of their buttons that's making them uncomfortable. And sadly, human nature is known for, well, you're making me uncomfortable, so I'm going to attack you so I will feel better and elevate. I'm thinking that I'm elevating myself, right?
Yes.
But essentially, all they're doing is bringing the energy down and down and down and down. And so our job as humans is to do our best to love ourselves and to bring our gifts, our talents, and our abilities out into the world. And when those people come at you, then I always do my best to check my ego, right? Don't let my ego get all kicked up, because that's where things get twisted. And I send them blessings and love. I'm like, I'm just going to keep going and keep trying. And you learn from every experience, and you let go of what doesn't work, and you keep moving forward with what does.
And to not take it personally, because those people that are throwing out the daggers and things like that, like you said, you're triggering something in them most likely, and they are such a small minority. I remember when we would do live phone calls, the audience, we'd say, we'd like your feedback on whatever, and I would be, if I was hosting the program, in the back of my mind, because it's a loose cannon, when you say,
I can imagine,
call this number and tell me what you think about whatever. And you're talking, and this is Los Angeles, so there's a lot of people, right? A lot of different kinds of people. And we had people that were like, would just listen to the radio. They would just listen 24 hours a day and try and pick apart things. So when I would do that, this is what I would do. I kind of cast a spell, not on the audience, but I cast a spell basically saying, okay, the people that need to be heard for the highest good of all will be able to get through.
Yes.
The people who don't have the highest energy, right? Who are going to shift the energy in my audience, they're magically not going to be able to get through for whatever reason. And lo and behold, dang it, we would open up the phone lines and there were beautiful comments and amazing people.
Yes, I had a true story. This was many years ago. I had gone to a retreat, and I had, my husband had recently walked out on our marriage, and I was all befuddled, right? And I see this guy walking around this retreat, big dude, like 400 or 500 pounds large. And I was like, who is that guy? Is he part of the tree? They're like, oh, that's Aha. He's an enlightened being. I'm like, get out. I want to meet an enlightened being. So I go wandering over and I introduce myself and had the most enlightening conversation with him. It was profound. And one of the things he shared with me was, as your energy expands and grows, lower, more negative energies cannot be in the same space as you. So they will take themselves away. And so for me, it was such a gift because it helped me understand what had just happened in my life, right? I'm continually leveling up my consciousness and my work. And it's just a powerful reminder that I'll just keep it here. When I catch myself and I'm spinning and I'm twirling and I'm wanting to pull down into a negative space, I'm like, stop, elevate my vibration, elevate my thinking, reset my mind, right? So I'm setting my mind on joy. I'm setting my mind on happiness. I'm setting my mind on abundance so that I can start to re-spiral myself up in a good way, and then attract to me more of the positive energy, the positive people that I want to work with, that I want to have in my life in different ways, shapes, and forms.
Well, it's working because you met me.
Yes. And you got good juju, girl.
Thank you, girl.
It's all good.
Thank you. Well, I call that thing that spiral down, I call it, it's as if like when you let the water out of the bathtub and it goes down the drain. And I've caught myself several times in my life where Before I would just let myself go down that drain and go spiral out of control. You go, but they're going to leave me and
down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're having an affair. And instead, when you can pull yourself away from your spiral down and step aside and actually view it, right? As it's like a second person or third person, whatever.
Yep. Step away, look at it like it's on a TV monitor,
and go, well, you're acting quite irrationally. like you don't know all of the facts yet, right? And so before you go down that spiral and hurt yourself, because that's really what it is, it's emotional pain. Before you do that, let's just step back a bit and reevaluate everything before we go down that, that spiral, that drain. But it's helped me with health matters when I've had a little health scare, and instead of going, oh my God, it's cancer, I'm going to die. As we go, we go right to the worst conclusion.
Yeah.
Instead, it's like, okay, I see you. I see you. I respect you, but you're not needed right now. I got it. I'm good. like it's all good. I don't need to go down that pathway.
Reframe.
I don't need to go down that pathway. And then also reframing, I had a broken leg not too long ago, and I had to realize that I needed the experience of receiving.
Yes. It's amazing what our mind body will give us as opportunities for learning and growth, right? I can look back at my high-tech career crash into a brick wall as the universe gently whispering, or not so gently whispering in my ear, no, not that, look over here.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. That's the same thing. Yeah. Cause I was the giver, making sure everything is all good. And it was like, boom, it literally was a break where it was like,
yes,
breaking your leg and you can't do anything for it and you need to receive. And what we tend to, of course, beat ourselves up and say, no, I'm all right. I'll do it by myself. But what it is that you're cheating someone else also out of the gift of giving.
Yes, totally. Because we are hardwired for giving and receiving.
Yes.
Giving and receiving, just like breathing in.
Yes.
And breathing out. You can't have one without the other. It becomes very challenging.
Exactly. And thank goodness there was food delivery. So I was all right. That was fine.
Amen to that. Amen to that. I love it.
Thank you, Uber Eats. Yes. Oh my gosh, Michele, I could talk to you forever and ever, but we do need to wrap up the show at the moment. So let's I'm going to throw out the website again. I want everybody that's listening or watching this on YouTube, please check out her website. You'll learn so much. And if you have something, as you've been listening to this or watching this video, and there's something that you got goosebumps on, or something that you connected with and you said, you know what, I think she could help me on this, please reach out to Michele Molitor. I'm going to throw out that website again. It's michelemolitor.com. The link will be in the show notes. And just reach out to her. She's an awesome human being. And I'm so glad I got to meet you, Michele.
Yeah, thank you. I'm always happy to have a complimentary and confidential discovery call with someone, Christine, if they're curious about how this work can support them, personally and professionally. And so it's been really a joy to be here and have this yummy conversation with you. You're such a delight.
Thank you, love. Thank you so much. And I want to thank you, wonderful listeners and viewers, for tuning in today. Remember, you can subscribe to this show on all of the major podcast platforms: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, you name it, you can do that. But you can also subscribe to the YouTube channel so that you can actually see my beautiful, wonderful guests that I have on Out of the Box with Christine, the podcast for conscious entrepreneurs. So subscribe to either one. If you like to look at wonderful, amazing people, do the YouTube channel. And if not, if you're just an audio person and you love your podcast audio wise, then subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. If you want more information about the show, go to outoftheboxwithchristine.com. If you want more information about me, you can go to christineblosdale.com. All of those links will be in the show notes. And until next time, as I always say, remember to think outside that damn box. Bye for now.
Amen.
Amen, sister.